Greetings, children of the screen. Your friendly neighborhood nerd scum here once again, and today I want to talk to you guys about something I've been thinking about for a little bit. The state of the DC movies. More specifically, the fact that DC, their movies aren't doing really well. And I think that a lot of that comes from them both trying to do the same things Marvel is doing, while at the same time sticking to this prototype of The Dark Knight being the ultimate comic book movie. And in them doing this, I feel that they've really missed out on a lot of great opportunities that they've had to do movies that would differentiate themselves from Marvel, as well as tap into different fan bases than what Marvel is going after right now. So today what we're going to be talking about is my top 3 missed DC Comics movies opportunities. Now, I know that at some point I did a video where I kind of mentioned a couple of these in passing, but I couldn't find it when I was going through my catalog. Maybe it doesn't even exist. Sometimes when you've done as many as I have, it gets a little hard to keep track of them, but if I have, I apologize. This one should be much more thorough than whatever the previous one was, if it exists. So anyway, guys, these are my top 3 picks for missed opportunities in DC Comics movies. Number 1, Blackhawks. Black Hawk is the name of the leader of the infamous World War II-era ace fighter pilot squadron sharing his name. The group operates out of a high-tech island fortress known as Black Hawk Island. The team and their leader have a long and storied history in DC Comics, and are also no strangers to the big screen, as in 1952, a 15-part serial was released to theaters starring Kirk Alyn as the titular Black Hawk. This movie would give the studio the ability to combine their comic book fan base with the existing audience for big, epic, wartime period pieces. Imagine something with the emotional resonance of Dunkirk or Saving Private Ryan, and then add some of the more fun, adventurous aspects of franchises like Indiana Jones, and you're almost there. But this would also be a good idea because Wonder Woman pretty much set the template for the universe this movie could exist in, and therefore you could still make it as part of your extended DC universe. Hell, you could probably even get a few of the characters from Wonder Woman to appear in the movie, if not a small cameo from Wonder Woman herself, even though we've kind of been told that she wasn't particularly active during this period of time. With the characters having such a long and storied history, if their first movie does well, you have the ability to do a franchise in which every movie is completely different. The first one obviously should be set sometime within the World War II era, but the sequels could explore a number of other possibilities. I personally would say the best option would be for the sequel to in some way involve Dinosaur Island. That way you would be able to add the resurgence of popularity of dinosaurs stemming from the Jurassic World franchise into the mixing pot. Yeah, and if you don't know what Dinosaur Island is, go ahead and do yourself a favor and Google it. It's a whole nother video in of itself, and if enough people want me to, I will definitely do a video talking about Dinosaur Island. Just let me know down in the comments below. But yeah, Blackhawks, that is the first on this list. There's so many possibilities, it's so different from everything Marvel's doing, and it kind of does feel like an offshoot of like what Wonder Woman started. So that would be really cool. Number 2, Ronan. Ronan, by Frank Miller and Lynn Varley, was a limited series comic released by DC in 1983. It's the story of a nameless Ronin reincarnated into a futuristic dystopian society ruled over by a tech conglomerate called Aquarius. With clear influences ranging from Lone Wolf and Cub, Blade Runner, and Isaac Asimov's I, Robot, this epic comic is a temporal fever dream providing a rich world brimming with interesting characters and big summer blockbuster themes ripe for the picking. Now, this story has kind of a history of failed starts in terms of adaptation. At one point, Darren Aronofsky was attached to this adaptation, and between you and me, man, his visual style and the way that he handles complex characters, I think that is definitely a missed opportunity on DC's part, and something that I desperately want to see. In terms of the further story, it is intricate and awesome, although by now, with all the other things that have been put out that kind of rip this off, as well as rip off the things that inspired this, a lot of those things might seem a little, not dated, but overused. But in terms of the general story, I'm not going to elaborate any further because it is one of Frank Miller's best works, and it is truly amazing, and everyone should go check it out for itself. Having said that, though, it's definitely one of those things that Frank Miller has done that not a lot of people know, and it is just perfect for what DC needs right now in their films. Just like something different and unique and big and epic and completely different from what Marvel is doing. Number 3 is Saga of the Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing, like the Blackhawks, is no stranger to the big or small screen, having had 2 theatrical released films, an animated series, and numerous appearances throughout DC animation, both in television and film. While many of these achieved a certain level of success, none of them have been able to capture the true beauty and horror of Alan Moore's saga of the Swamp Thing. And for this one, you'll literally just start at the beginning of Alan Moore's first arc with the anatomy lesson, where we learn that, the true nature of Swamp Thing, and then you just go through the first volume, ending with the final confrontation with Jason Woodrow, the Floronic Man. With today's technology being able to seamlessly blend practical effects, digital effects, and motion capture performances, the time has never been more right to bring the Avatar of the Green to life. And despite this being an effects-laden film, that first volume story is really streamlined so that you could really probably do this at a relatively meager budget, which is definitely something of importance for this film in terms of success. Because Swamp Thing, while he has a decent-sized and hardcore fan base, let's face it, this is not going to be a film for everyone. At its best, it will probably be something that is kind of straddling the line between a horror film and an art film. And again, that is something that would separate the movie from anything that Marvel is doing in terms of their cinematic movies, and it would give the DC movies a much-needed sense of depth and just like something more contemplative, not just kind of big CG punch fests, which obviously this movie would have at some point, because at some point you're going to have 2 big swampy plant men fighting each other, but there's a lot more that can be done with the character of Swamp Thing, and the fan base is just ready for it. Like, Swamp Thing is a character who has enough popularity that if you keep the budget low enough, you could definitely make your money back on this, while creating a film that critics would probably be more inclined to be into. So right on, guys, those are my top 3 picks for missed opportunities in terms of DC Comics movies. But what did you think? Are there any comics that you feel are a scathing omission, something that I've left out from this? Or do you think that these are some pretty good choices that could do good things for the DC cinematic universe, or just for DC's reputation in terms of their films right now? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you like this video, please leave a like and share it with some friends. That's more important now than ever with everything that YouTube is changing up, especially where it concerns us small YouTubers. And if you're not subscribed, then please hit the subscribe and that little bell so that you can get notifications on all the cool content I'll have coming out in the future. As always, guys, thank you very much for your time, and I hope y'all have a good one. Nerd Scum, out.
Just let it go, let it go.